Very good morning. Welcome back to Lanzarote. This is the second of our two back-to-back regattas on the Canary Island of Lanzarote. This is the Puerto Calero of Lanzarote 52 Super Series Royal Cup sailing week. At stake, the Royal Cup, this historic trophy which is owned by the 52 Super Series. But of course, it's the penultimate regatta of the season. Sled have a 17-point lead at the top, but everything to play for. And race fans will remember in Marina Rubicon, Gladiator had a rig problem, suffered a big breakdown on the second day. Since then, it's been a race against time to be on the dock. They are here, ready to go racing, and we caught up with Chris Hosking from Gladiator. So Chris, how do you feel actually being here, everything in place to go racing?
Well, obviously it's always a wonderful opportunity to come to Lanzarote and go sailing. For the Gladiator sailing team, we've been incredibly busy. As you know, we had a failure of a mast part at the previous regatta, and that required some extensive work from a lot of people involved, the Gladiator shore team, and happy to be here today to first day racing.
Tell us what that process has been like. It was a lot of balls in the air, as they say.
A lot of balls in the air, a lot of different countries involved, a lot of different time zones and a lot of late night phone calls. But basically Southern Spars is the master manufacturer, and their service company RigPro affected the mast repair, so basically cut out about a metre section of the front of the rig through the forestay area, which is a highly loaded area of the rig, made a mould to make a new part, a new nose part of the rig, and laminated that back into the mast tube. Carbolink is the headstay manufacturer, made a new headstay for us. We cut the titanium terminals off the old headstay and sent them up to Switzerland. They made a new headstay for us that was not cured yet, and flew that down here and cured it on site here in Lanzarote. So we've had people driving in cars and ferries and planes and lots of moving parts to get here, and we had our first proper sailing day yesterday, so we're into race day today.
And obviously you're racing on the boat, but you revert to boat building mode.
Yeah, I've done a few. I've been involved in a few 52 builds over the last 20 odd years, and so that was sort of my part of the project, was to kick in and coordinate everybody and get them all together and make a plan to get it done. And I can't say enough of the Gladiator shore team, RigPro, Southern Spars and Carbolink working together as a group to get Gladiator back on the start line here today.
How do you put the project in place, or how do you make it all happen?
Phone calls, initially a lot of phone calls going, this is an extreme matter of urgency, and obviously Europe is a little bit difficult in August because a lot of companies, that's their time off, and people would like to have their holidays in the summertime, and that was right when we needed everybody to hit the ground running as quick as we could. So metal workers, composite boat builders, you name it, we've had everybody involved to be here today.
So all the pressure's on to perform today?
Yeah, always. Pressure's on every day.
What about Tony's role in it?
Tony's role is, obviously the invoices get sent to him or his office to deal with those, and they've been fantastic in paying everybody quickly to ensure that we can put pressure on the people to get the parts as quickly as we need. But Tony's been kept in the loop with everything that's been going on. We missed a couple of training days. He took the opportunity to go fishing here, and I don't know if he caught anything, but he's been out there enjoying that while we've been doing the hard work to make sure that we're on the start line and he can have a good time racing.
But as an engineer, he loves a challenge.
He loves to be informed, he loves to know what's going on, and he has complete understanding of the process and what's been going on. So being an industrialist himself, he was keen to be involved and keen to be a part of the communication loop.
What about the regatta then? How do you feel about the regatta? How can Gladiator do?
Well, we've done quite a bit of sailing here in the past in the 44 class, so I feel like a few of us on the boat know the course area quite well. We've missed the training, and I think that the training and preparation is a very important part of the lead up into a regatta. I feel like we're not on the back foot, but we could have used those 2 days of sailing for sure. But here we are on race day one, and we've got to put it all aside and put our best foot forward.
What's your favourite Gladiator quote?
I don't know, mate. There was one, God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason.
I'm sure that's Gladiator. That's a different Gladiator sailing team, but
I don't know how that applies to us, but I heard that one this morning. I thought it was pretty good,
Have a great day, Chris. All the best.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Thank you.
So that's the legendary Chriso. Now moving to the weather for today and for the week with Morgan Reeser, the coach from Gladiator. Anyway, Morgan, the weather here specifically for today?
We shall see 2 options. One, we have the offshore wind line work its way in exactly like yesterday. The model that was perfectly right yesterday has it coming in a touch earlier, but leaving earlier. However, the weatherman that our race committee chairman, Maria, relies on has it northeast offshore all day. So I think she's going to keep the course closer to shore and sail in the northeaster all day.
How does it vary here? How is it different to Rubicon?
This area is kind of in a bubble, so we're dominated by the wind coming down the southeast side of the island. And Rubicon, you got options to sail in the wind coming down the east side or west side of the island. So we normally sailed in Rubicon with the wind coming down the west side of the island. So different regime here.
More challenging, less challenging, just the same?
Just different, yeah. It's just challenging in this fleet.
And what's the outlook for the week? It's getting breezier for the weekend.
One day at a time. Haven't looked yet.
At Palm Beach Motor Yachts, we build for those who lead. This comes from our history in competitive ocean racing, where advanced technologies and a spirit to win shape our every advantage on the water. We carry those lessons into every motor yacht that we design and build, using efficient and balanced hulls to deliver performance that feels effortless. Paired with meticulous craftsmanship and engineering, it creates a quiet confidence you can sense the moment you take the helm. Palm Beach Motor Yachts, from ocean racing innovation to cruising perfection.
Well, a very good afternoon. Welcome to Puerto Calero Lanzarote 52 Super Series Sailing Week. It is the Royal Cup at stake, this big standalone trophy, but that is very, very much a bonus for the team that wins here. We're very much getting towards the end of the season. This is the penultimate regatta of the year, and really teams need to perform here on the waters of Puerto Calero. It's a very different race course, better known to the sailors who race on some of the other circuits to visit here. But they don't race in the high summer, which is where we are now, and so it's going to be a fascinating week. Sled having lost just a few, or they actually gained 2 points, but they had a bad final day. Paprec coming here buoyed with confidence, having won their first regatta since they started the 52 Super Series. But it's very much a reset, I think. As you can see, the winds, we had an average probably of 20 knots in Marina Rubicon. It blew every day from morning to night. You came out the door in the morning, it was blowing. You went home at night, it was still blowing. So it's a very different scenario here at beautiful Puerto Calero. Joined in the studio by Robbie McCutcheon. On the water, Katie Dabson. Robbie, your thoughts about this race area? It looks beautiful this morning.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you're right, Andy. You mentioned it's a bit of a different course to what we had last month, so it just looks a little bit like the breeze is a little bit further down and we're a bit closer to shore. So I think a more priority for these teams will just be picking the shifts, and I think it'll be a little bit less of a survival game and more of just a tactical one, Andy.
And we're just seeing Gladiator there. I mean, it's been a battle for them to be ready. They launched the boat on Saturday, put the rig in Sunday, and I think they didn't quite manage to do the practice races. So on the back foot, but what can they do?
Yeah, very impressive from them to get here and be racing on race day one. But like Chris just mentioned in that interview we saw, they just got to put it behind them and put their best foot forward for this race day one. I think it'll be a lot about filling the boat out and making sure that they can push the systems that they've implemented since the breakage. So they'll be going in with maybe potentially a little bit on the back foot, but I hope they can just remove all that doubt and just go ahead and start racing.
Katie, how's it looking on the water? It looks glamorous. I think we've got probably 10, 11 knots. Very different, a very big contrast to Rubicon last month.
Sorry, I forgot to press my button. Yeah, it's so nice out here. It feels like it's about 5 knots because I'm used to 25 knots being out here, being sprayed with water. But yeah, you got about 10 to 12 knots. Absolutely glam. It's quite a lot flatter than we've seen kind of yesterday in the practice racing, and also, for a while in the Super Series, like last event was pretty windy and wavy. It's quite a lot flatter. So it's, a completely different day out here. And I think what was described in kind of the weather briefings I've been kind of like listening to, and like when I've chatted to people, it's a bit of a low confidence day with the forecast in terms of there's a couple of different options that could happen. So I think it's going to be kind of keeping your eyes on what's going on around you, keeping your eyes on the clouds, on the wind lines, anything that might happen, and just kind of making the most of what you've got and trying to figure out what's going to happen.
So much of the Marina Rubicon regatta affected by the outcomes affected by the spinnaker breakages, the sail breakages. We had Provezza and Platoon Aviation losing between them, I think 11 kites between them, 6 and 5 apiece. That's really that really affected that regatta, but it's really back to zero here. It's a reset. What do you think we're going to see this week, Katie?
Yeah, I think, as you say, a full reset. I think looking at the forecast, we've got a bit of a range of conditions, and I always really love regattas that have a range of conditions because different teams are strong in different conditions, and you don't see any one team really being as dominant normally. So I'm really interested to see how that all plays out, and especially today, the first kind of light wind racing day we've had in a while. It'll be really interesting to see how the teams get back into that light wind style of racing. But I'm kind of expecting probably a lot of different teams at the top of the racing on different days.
Robbie, how do you think the win by Paprec, how do you think that's affected the mentality, the outlook for some of the teams? It's been a big boost to see a team that just never won a regatta before. Been a big boost to the other teams, do you think?
Yeah, that's right. You mentioned that's their first win, so obviously they take a lot of confidence into it, and like we mentioned, it's bit of a different condition here, but they definitely take the confidence in how they were sailing the boat, and I'm sure they sort of refined sort of the positives that they had on the last event.
So looking at the standings, and Sled still at the top of the table. They actually took 2 points off Platoon Aviation. You can see that 31 versus 33, but they are 17 points clear at the top of the table. Nothing to worry about for the Takashi Okura's team. Really, they had a bad final day, but they're back on form. They've debriefed and ready to go. Platoon Aviation finished with a double bullet day on the last day in the Marina Rubicon. They're second place and pushing hard. You have to remember within that these 2 wins, one of them was being over the start line, having to start a restart. They still went on to win, so they're bags of confidence on board Platoon Aviation. Similarly, on the Italian boat, Alkedo Settilar, notice the name change reflects the parent company for Vitamina, but Alkedo Settilar are reckoned to be one of the quickest boats on the water, really pushing hard, want to finish on the podium. Positions changed slightly compared to last year when it was the incumbents in third, where Paprec finished the season on third, and this time Paprec are doing the chasing. But Katie, talk us through the start. We can see value at the towards the pin end of the line. It's looking like we're just shaping up with 30 seconds to go.
Yeah, as you say, you've got value down at this pin end. Platoon, obviously a season contender. They look a little bit swamped at the moment at this pin end. I think it'll be impressive if they can actually manage to get a good start out of this. They're kind of a bit squeezed in there. It's looking super tight, this pin end. But then you've got the likes of Gladiator and Paprec up in a bit more space at that boat end. Yeah, it's going to be all on this start. Value potentially a little bit early for me, which would play into the hands of Platoon, because then they'd have to go back. Yeah, they've just started, and as you say, value over, which plays into the hands of kind of Platoon, because they've now got a clear lane, but super crowded at this pin end. You've got a lot of the boats and not a lot of water, so it's going to be all about holding a lane, finding your mode, and trying to really extend from the rest of the fleet.
Robbie, what do we know about this race course? Have you been talking to? It's considered to be a left-hand track by some of the tacticians. Indeed, we spoke with Nacho Postigo yesterday, He was saying he considered it left-hand track. They did well in the practice race yesterday and have got off the start line very nicely there, haven't they?
Yeah, that's right. They're talking to some of the tacticians earlier. They said this closer race course, as they sort of imagined or forecasted beforehand, this closer to the shore race course means that you do get that sort of left-hand bend as we get further up the course. So it's not surprising to see all these boats very congested and very tight at that pin end, really trying to fight for it, because like we see Preveza at the moment, I think they're really going to gain coming up to that left-hand side.
Yeah, they certainly got off the line nicely. Just the weather of them. Alkedo Stetelar got away quite nicely. Platoon Aviation, most pin end boat or most left-hand boat. No way back, just a notch behind. Out on that right side, we're seeing Gladiator, Katie, Allegri, Paprec, Criolla, all going right. Alpha Plus under pressure didn't get off the start line very well at all. Neither, I don't think, did Sled particularly. Who Sled have a reasonable lane, Robbie.
Yeah, interesting to see that this fleet sort of split off into half. I mean, we had those boats that had a bit more space at that boat end, willing to tack early and first. So that's obviously playing into how they sort of want to play the strategy up the beat. Looks to me like all these boats sort of want to head out to the edges, potentially gain a bit more on those either sides, and we see just a big split in between the fleet, Andy.
Indeed, just watching. Paprec made a very nice start there on the right hand, or the right group on the start line. They're going well at the moment, but it'd be interesting to see how the wind bends affect the fleet as they get closer to the shore. But Paprec away nicely. One small change on board from the winning team in Marina Rubicon. They have Paul Morvan is in doing the pit. He's a former laser sailor, very famous French sailing dynasty, the Morvan family. Father Gildas was a 20 times figurist, and Paul did the last La Solitaire, finished on the podium and won the last leg. So he's into the TP52 for the first time, and they're going well. Great, obviously adding to their strategic strengths, as it were.
Yeah, great start from them at that boat end, as we mentioned. So they've done a really nice job to hold that lane, and they're sort of that lead pack on that right-hand bunch. And we just see no way back there. You mentioned them. They just didn't quite get the start they wanted. They were just behind a little bit off the jump there, and they just having to take a few sterns as they try to get their clear air out to that right-hand side.
Kitty, your thoughts? We're watching hovering above No Way Back. They've got a little bit of work to do, trying to find themselves a clear lane. They have Trinity just in front of them, but I quite like Preveza's position for the moment. Katie.
Yeah, I think No Way Back, as you say, they've got to kind of find their way back through and find a nice lane. I think they're quite lucky in that the fleet is quite split, so there's not a lot of traffic in the middle of the course. So that means that they should be able to find a nice lane and kind of just continue through. Yeah, Preveza looking nice on this left. I actually think it's going to be potentially quite a tricky day. Before the start, it was shifting around quite a lot and the breeze wasn't quite settled, which is potentially why we're seeing so many of the boats kind of opting maybe for that right-hand side. Maybe they're thinking the shifts or the shifts were kind of favouring that. But you would expect, as we are a bit closer to the shore and just the topography of the island, you do get, the wind does kind of bend around the shore, and you do get that left-hand wind bend as you get out to that left-hand side, which is a gain. So there's two kind of different types of day, as it were. When you're talking about strategy and tactics, you talk about types of day, you talk about, is it kind of a gain feature, is it kind of a shifty day, is it head out of boat? So there's almost potential for it to be two different kinds of days. But for me, looking out to this left-hand side, and I'm on the left-hand side of the course at the moment, it does feel like there's nice pressure out here. It's just whether those shifts have kind of stabilised a bit from the pre-start. But yeah, it's super big split, and I think whichever side you're on, you need to win that side, and that's super critical, because if you win your side, then the worst you are going to be at the windward mark is kind of mid-fleet. So that would be the goal, regardless of which side I was on right now.
Meantime, our tracking showing Paprec, Allegri, Gladiator, Criolla, the four boats most right at the moment. How do you read that, Robbie? What do they have, or what do Gladiator and Allegri have to do?
Well, I think they just got the better start, or the less congested start than the boats down to the pin. So I think that's why you sort of see the leaderboard that sort of way. They're just able to pick their time to go, and they had good starts, all three of those boats there that are leading currently. So I think they just got off the jump well, and then as we can see them on the 2D here, they're all just sort of stacked up nicely in clear lanes for all of them, and they're just doing a really nice job to keep the hammer down. Another thing that was interesting to me was as they sort of came off the line, the bows were sort of slapping into the water a little bit more than they are now. So as they sort of get further up to this top mark, I'm just seeing nicer lines from all these boats, and the bows just being able to get through that water. So I think a little bit less chop up the top of the course, Andy.
On board with Alpha Plus fighting back, didn't have the best of starts, but they got themselves a lane going quite well just now. Certainly this is very much their kind of conditions, Robbie, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right, and we saw them put together some great events in the previous ones this season, so they've definitely got a lot of confidence as a team, and they're building well. And yeah, like you mentioned, these are their sort of conditions to really put the hammer down and really be nice smooth sailing, and it looks like they're going to come back into it nicely here.
Certainly up in sixth for the meantime. Value furthest to the right, they're one of the furthest to the right boats. Prevets are furthest to the left with Alkedo. Now then, it was, I say, Nacho Postigo who was talking about the left-hand racetrack. The Prevezza afterguard, Nacho Coliparada as a tactician now, and working well. And Nick Heiner joined in Marina Rubicon as a strategist. So that afterguard settling in. They, as I said, had one of the teams that were affected by losing so many kites. They were very often up in the top 2, top 3, top mark. Had some spectacular blowouts. Just watching there, Nacho Postigo there on the rail with the tablet and the bare feet.
Yeah, for a relatively new afterguard for this team, they've done a good job, and they've made sure they get a good start on this first race. So they've definitely come out fighting. It'll be interesting, like you mentioned, to see how they do come out of this left-hand side, if that was their plan, and they're executing it perfectly. So we'll see when they converge back with those boats on the right-hand side.
I think that, the general consensus with Prevetz is they're slightly better in the light to medium conditions. Nacho was talking about the strong wind performance, primarily being Alkedo, Platoon, Paprec, and in fact he was highlighting Criolla as a good boat in the breeze, better than their current boat or their new boat. So interesting to watch. Criolla have been my kind of slow burn team this year. Really, they've been quietly consistent in the regattas they've been doing well at.
Yeah, they're just sort of finding their feet, finding where they sort of stand, and I'm sure they'll be, trying to refine all their processes. They're a relatively new team, so definitely, sort of figuring out that middle of the pack, and like you mentioned, just making little small gains.
One of the things about Criolla is they race the Southern Hemisphere, or call it the Southern Hemisphere season in South America with their other boat. So they're racing year round together. It really solidifies the teamwork. And they're a very, very strong independent unit, as it were. Just watching as a Sled tack out from their position, getting bounced around just a little bit. They're deep at the moment, are the circuit leaders in 11th. They really wanted to come out fighting. And actually Platoon Aviation, Katie, well out to the left and not going well. They shone really nicely in the 2 practice races. I think they were second in both practice races, certainly were at one stage. But they have some work to do. How are you reading it, Katie? What are you seeing? Just waiting for Katie to come in, but Allegri,
sorry.
Go on, Katie.
Sorry, me and this button are having some beef today. Yeah, I think it's quite interesting that actually neither of the packs on either side have gone all the way out to that ley line, which makes me wonder if actually it's not as skein featurey as it could be, and it's kind of a bit more of an open course. I'm just kind of keeping an eye on the boats and trying to watch their angles and watch the angles on the tracking. A takeaway from yesterday's race course, I know that we're on a slightly closer in race course today, but one of the takeaways from yesterday is that the left-hand side was strong, but you actually didn't get the gain. You didn't get the left-hand shift until you tacked back onto port, and it got stronger and stronger as it went along. So it's worth watching Provezza and whether they just continue to get stronger and stronger, or whether it's different race course, different rules apply kind of situation. But to me, Provezza's looking kind of stronger and stronger as we're going, and I think actually it might turn out quite nicely for them at the top here.
It might do. We're just watching that. It's interesting to watch the perspective from the sideline camera, and then you look at it on the 2D. And also the other thing, Robbie, is Gladiator electing to tack there rather than converge with Provezza. So I think maybe just kind of bank what they've got on that side rather than coming back and converging with Provezza, recognising Provezza gaining all the time on that left side. And I think they consolidate what they have on that right, or what was the right side, Robbie.
Yeah, exactly. Consolidating is definitely the right word. They, obviously, or indicated that they're in a left-hand shift. So, like you mentioned, just consolidating, and you see all the fleet behind them sort of tack over onto that lefty as well.
Putting their blockers on Allegri and lifting away the two British flag boats, second and third for the moment, but Provezza making that early gain. Talked about their strategy yesterday, what they saw, and they're unrolling that, unfolding it as we speak.
Yeah, Katie mentioned you want to win either side that you're on, and it looks like Gladiator did a nice job to win that right-hand side, so they're nicely up into second, and you mentioned Provezza definitely taking the early advantage.
We're just looking at Alpha Plus Sled and Platoon. Platoon certainly, I think there was a little bit of a tracker anomaly maybe, Katie, was there? They're not looking as bad as the tracker showed a minute ago. Certainly top 3, top 4, Katie.
Yeah, for sure. I think they've done a really nice job kind of hanging on in there. I was wondering if they were actually being affected by Provezza's breeze. It looked like Provezza was kind of extending from them, but clearly they were happy in that lane and they wanted to stay there, and kind of, as potentially we saw yesterday as well, this left-hand side getting stronger and stronger as we get further up towards this windward mark. So clearly taking the learnings from yesterday and kind of trusting in that.
Indeed, but actually this gain for Provezza increasing all the time. I still quite like Gladiator's position for the meantime, and we'll see how the ley lines play out at the top mark. You can see potentially a righty coming in as well, maybe a little bit of a split breeze as we get to the top mark.
Yeah, we mentioned it would get a little bit more shifty as they get close to the shore, but what's really interesting to me is the difference between the practice day yesterday and today is the breeze is actually a little bit further left, further in the north than it was yesterday. Obviously, it's a bit more down pressure than you say, but a further left shift just means it's not so one track sort of bias. It's not a big left-hand shift. As they come close to this top mark, it's really going to get shifty for all the teams.
I think you can still expect to see, and I think probably Gigi Parada and co at the back of Gladiator expecting to come in a bit of a righty. And I'm wondering, what the RC44 sailors know about this race course, whether this is a breeze that they'll see. Certainly Vasco races in 44s, quite a few of them, not so much on Provezza, for example. A few on the Allegri. But we're just watching. But for me, Provezza looking quite good there, Robbie.
Yeah, that's right. They did a really nice job of executing their strategy, and you just got to trust in that strategy, and they've done a very good job. They've obviously take the early advantage as we see them coming close to that starboard ley line, so really well done by them just to execute their plan.
But it's still going to be a tight rounding as the fleet plays out or lines up to come round this first mark, Puerto Calero 52 Super Series, the Royal Cup, this third or fourth regatta of the season, second back-to-back here in Lanzarote. But it's a while since we've seen, you might call it a dominant performance by Provezza coming up. As we said, they had their strategy stuck to, and it's playing out very nicely for them. Gladiator and Allegri just behind, Platoon Aviation in fourth.
Definitely looks a little bit lighter up here as well as we see the first boat come around that top mark. It looks like not everyone's hiking up on this ley line.
That's right, and you just can't afford to come in late on port because of that. You're coming into the disturbed air, just watching a Platoon Aviation having to take a couple of sterns there, keeping their position relative to Paprec. And look at Alkedo Setelar having to take sterns there, dropping a few places. It's always risky coming in on port, but you do need pressure to do it. But anyway, credit to Ergen Imre and the team on Prevetsa round in first. Second, Gladiator, great round and great position for the team, which have really been battling to be on the start line. Round and third, Allegre. Fourth, I think, was Platoon Aviation. So, Robbie, what do Prevetsa do down this first run then, considering the left paid on the upwind?
Yeah, well, if they're sort of trying to stick to their strategy like they did on the upwind, then you can probably expect them just to keep going on starboard. You know, if there was a bit of a left-hand shift coming upwind on the course, then you obviously want to be on starboard and you get sort of that knock effect downhill. So I'd just expect them just to keep going. You see the afterguard just talking the whole time about sort of their plan. They've got a little bit of a gap. We see it there, a couple boat lengths between them and Gladiator. So they're just sort of trying to irk their lead out a wee bit further. And yeah, I'd expect them to keep coming this way, Andy.
So plenty to play for. Paprec ending around in fifth. Trinity Racing sixth. Value seventh. Alkedo Setelar dropping a couple of places in the final approach. No way back. Ninth. Sled down in 10th, Alpha plus 11th, 12th Crayola, and actually we're very remiss not to have mentioned that at Teasing Machine unfortunately couldn't make the start. They broke their D2 in the pre-start period and are back in the harbour, hopefully making something to repair, hopefully being able to get back out in the water for race 2. So anyway, French racing fans, unfortunately, Teasing Machine having to sit this race out. However, all good for Prevetsa, and huge credit to the Gladiator team. As I say, joking with Chriso before they went off the dock, saying, right, okay, you guys need to perform now and repay all the companies, everybody's enterprise, everybody's endeavours over the month of August so far to make sure they can be there. And they are doing that as best they can at the moment. Second.
Yeah, really nice from Chriso to sort of shout out the shore team, and it's a good time to sort of, or for them to step up and definitely make the magic happen for these sailors to be able to go out on the water and perform. So definitely a big shout out to all the shore team, and he definitely gave them a lot of kudos to get them out there, Andy.
They did indeed. Katie, good to see Gladiator in second, and it's a course which seems to have an established pattern so far, Katie, doesn't it? I don't want to hex anything or at the moment.
Yeah, it seems to be, like that left-hand side is pretty strong as you're looking at wind, and it seems, even though the top was a bit shifty and you got that big righty, it seems like the teams are still kind of pretty confident that actually they want to be more towards that left-hand side of the course as you're looking at wind. Everyone's kind of following each other downwind, and it's all going to be on kind of where the boats position themselves to jibe, and also then the execution of the jibes, because the fleet is super packed, especially kind of Prevetsa's got a little bit of a gap behind them, but definitely not enough to be cruising. But then behind them, the fleet's pretty packed, especially that bunch from sort of 5th, 6th to 10th. Like, they're all super stacked, and I think there's going to be a lot of place changes there with this jibe point, and boats need to, it's kind of the same as the upwind. If you're in the traffic, you need to figure out how you can get out of the traffic and find yourself a clear lane. It's the exact same on the downwind, and I think boats are going to need to be, or the tacticians on the boats are going to need to be having conversations around where they want to position themselves on this downwind, how they want to get to that position, and then picking the perfect time to jibe and making sure that they really execute it well so that they don't lose any meters.
Nice to see Tony Langley on the helm of the Gladiator and going well. KJ Parada calling tactics, Bruno Zerilli navigator. Paprec pushing hard, got quite a nice position, good speed coming downwind. But in this situation, not wanting to tempt fate, Robbie, it's slightly easier. Provetza with a little bit of a lead to magnify that lead, to increase it in these conditions.
Yeah, I think they've done a great job as well. I think they sailed just a little bit lower when they sort of had that pressure, and it's really set them up nicely. They're sailing a little bit of a higher course now, potentially just hunting up for a bit better VMG and a bit more speed. So they did a really nice job in the entry of this downwind. I think it's paying dividends now. You see Allegre and Gladiator getting pretty close, so they'll be fighting it out a wee bit.
Indeed, on board with Allegre this afterguard, Francesco Mangelli there. Italian navigator, Luke Patience, double Olympic silver medalist, and of course John Kostecki. Luke sporting a super fast haircut there, big skin fade. Must be certainly helping the speed on Allegre at the moment. Anyway, there you go. Quick line up there. Andy Soriano, John Kostecki, Luke Patience, Francesco Mangello, Pablo Arate, Chris Cowan and Elliot Willis. Elliot Willis, double 470 world champion. Pierluigi De Felici, Trim, Andy Hemmings, Sebastian Tenhag, Michele Negruti, Jonathan Taylor, Joe Cox and Manu Caputo on the bow. That's your Allegre team, and they're going well at the moment. Luke sporting that moustache. Do you think that helps in any way?
I absolutely think it helps. It looks good on the cameras, and no, it gives a good edge. Yeah, no, you mentioned the haircuts. It all plays into it, Andy.
Haircut and moustache. It's a winner, isn't it? Anyway, they're going well. It's good to see Andy Soriano put so much into his program. Really looks after his team, and I think it's no secret some of the owners struggled physically in Marina Rubicon. It was relentless, so a return to, I'm not going to call it normality, but a return to 10 or 11 knots of breeze is just a nice way to get this regatta started. Platoon Aviation jibing off early, trying to find something. They weren't going to get much just coming down with the train. Robbie, were they?
Yeah, that's right. I think Paprec did a nice job just to sort of hunt them down and attack them from that windward position. So I think it was a forced jibe out of Provetza, just having to clear their air.
So then Provetza jibing Katie. Certainly looks like the pressure builds as you come down the track, Katie.
Yeah, just looking at the speeds, some of the boats, they were kind of starting off kind of 9-10 knots, and now they're up at 11-12 knots pretty consistently. Provetza opting to kind of lead the pack back in, which I think is a pretty good strategy. I think that's good tactics. That's what I'd want to be doing if I was in the leading position. Gladiator just going a little bit past them so that they've got clear wind, and then opting to jibe as well. They did a really nice job there actually of managing to kind of get depth on Allegre so that Allegre was no longer a threat on the jibe point. Also, just speaking about the afterguard on Gladiator, I think actually they have switched up a little bit, and I think they've now got Victor as the tactician, and Guige has gone to run as strategist, so just a little bit of a switch around there. So I think, that's all still quite a new formatting, a new way of doing it, and I think they're just getting used to it. But I think that's kind of what we're seeing on the afterguard there. But all the boats coming across on port now. Yesterday we had quite a lot of the boats overlaying that port ley line. I know that a couple, not as much yesterday, but the other days there's been a bit of current, which has been impacting things. So that's worth thinking about. But for me, Provetza jibing in a really nice spot, just leading the pack back, and then they're able to make the decision around which mark they want to go down for the next upwind.
Which mark do you think that will be? You go left, a right-hand mark downwind, and then back up the left.
I think they'd want to be doing kind of a right-hand turn and then heading up towards that left-hand side again. It seemed pretty strong to me. pressure seems to get stronger and stronger kind of the further up you get on that side. Kind of as I was saying, I think the gains don't necessarily come at the bottom, but the top third or top half of the beat, it starts to get stronger and stronger. So yeah, that's probably what I would anticipate them doing, but what do I know?
I think what you know seems to have played out very nicely so far, Katie. So keep up the good work. But great to see you say Gladiator and Allegra up. Value have done quite nicely coming down this run. Got up to fourth just now.
Yeah, another team that sort of likes that light wind condition, don't they?
Yeah, the slightly older generation boats like the lighter conditions that we were referring earlier to Alpha Plus as well. Great overhead shot there. Making sure that our drone does not get too close to the Preveza kite, which it did yesterday. But great images and lovely to see Preveza up there. They've had their problems over the season.
Yeah, you see that swell just down at the bottom of your screen now, just at the bottom of the course as well. So just really disrupting all those kites. So potentially a strategy just to sail a little bit hotter, a little bit faster through this swell that we see at the bottom.
So you need to take account of that earlier on in the run in terms of your downwind strategy. Paprec have done well down this, seem to have done reasonably well down this run, but you have to get back from the left. Trinity going on the same line, as it were. Gladiator sailing slightly lower out to the right. So, Katie, just expand a little bit on that change in the Gladiator. How do you interpret that? What would be the reasoning behind that?
I think kind of bringing in new members to the team is always going to, you're always going to kind of need to figure out where people are best placed and what their skill sets are, and kind of not just them personally, but also like where their skill set fits within the team. And I think Victor is an incredible tactician, and I think I just think there was a bit of a kind of missing. There's just something missing in the configuration that they were doing it in then. I mean, the jobs all overlap so much anyway.
But I think the point is probably the Guige is better at running the boat, as it were, or pushing the buttons to run the boat in terms of the setups and everything else, and it frees up, as you say, Victor to do what he's best at, which is reading the breeze and calling the tactics. And with the input from Guige, and I think probably my interpretation would be that Guige would be, trying to be tactician and do everything, and being backed up by Victor, far better off of Victor doing tactics. So anyway, that's the Gladiators working for them at the moment, but Preveza coming through. I mean, their lead's still 65 metres. It's catchable. Certainly with the pressure difference between the top of the course and the bottom of the course, Robbie.
Yeah, that's right. If you're that lead boat and it is quite close to the second place boat, you just want to make sure you get in a good position at the gates. You sort of want to defend just that little bit, and the best case scenario is just that you get to choose which gate you want to go around, nice and easy, which is exactly what they've done. So great downwind leg from Preveza. We see them go for that right-hand turn, which is what we mentioned earlier, and you'd expect them just to play out the same sort of strategy that they did on that first beat. We also see Gladiator coming into that same mark as well, Andy.
Indeed. Nice rounding from the team which flies the Turkish flag, Ergun Imri's team. Then Gladiator coming round. Steady rounding for them. Beautifully set up, drop. Everything done very smoothly. And they're rolling straight into their tack.
That's a tough manoeuvre, especially in this down sort of speed, and going against the swell as well as soon as they tack over. So interesting manoeuvre from them. A
little bit of a port starboard with Paprec coming down.
Yeah, you mentioned Vayu doing a good job on the downwind as well. They'll
Got themselves through Allegri, haven't they? Or no, just about.
Yeah, they'll just be coming around in 4th place. So nice downwind leg by that team. We mentioned that they like these sort of light wind conditions, and a bit of a tough turn though as well. You know, they're jibing into the drop and sort of a down speed maneuver, but nice downwind leg all round in general.
With Paprec coming round in 5th. Platoon Aviation were 4th at the top mark. First time up, they've lost a little bit, and they're potentially getting themselves into bother as Criolla come through nicely. They'll just come in with the extra speed for the late drop. Platoon Aviation just going to lose their any chance of an overlap, and Criolla will be able to close the door on them nicely. Nice gain from No Way Back on the left side, coming round in clear air.
Yeah, we mentioned they're sort of, you know, this season has been a bit of a fight for them just to make sure that they're getting back up to the top of the fleet. So this is exact sort of copy of how they've been sailing, really trying to get off the line and then work their way up. We know they have the team to do it.
They have the team to do it, but it's all new. A lot of it, so much is new for Peter Hirma. We had a nice chat with him yesterday. He was saying that the boat has the speed, they have the crew work, but it's the finer detail, the communication coming into these marks, and I say it's those small percentages that they're missing, and the fleet of this caliber, and that's costing them. In the old days with the American Magic, they used to be able to pull back places all the way through the races if they started badly or whatever. Not as easy for them, or it was never easy, but they're not able to just pick off boats. However, 6th at the moment. If they could get a place or another couple of places, that would be on target. So many afterguards, so many tacticians, strategists say that you want to be top 5 in this fleet. If you can finish top 5 in every race, you'll win the regatta, is the conventional logic.
Yeah, definitely. Consistency helps, and you know, we mentioned this is sort of the business end of the season now, so any sort of high scores really is a detriment to their sort of tally, their points tally, and yeah, they'll be, obviously all the teams will be looking to try to get as low points as they can, but I think the really high scores really make a difference in this back end of the season, Andy.
Indeed, and that's things looking slightly better for Sled. Have pulled back 3 or 4 places, but they were down in the cheap seats for a while in this race. Still in 9th or 8th and 9th battling. But Manu Weiler does a fantastic job, very much an underrated talent. Always likes to prove himself in this fleet. This is the top level.
It's not surprising to see Preveza, you know, looking back at their closest competitor being Gladiator and just sort of putting in a loose cover or just attack on top of them just to consolidate their lead, and it just gets them further out to this left-hand side. So comfortable sailing as we look on board Team Preveza.
Indeed, just watching Cola Parada there, working as a tactician.
Really powered up setup as well. Just having a look at these teams, you know, they would have their J1s on, so just their deepest sort of head sail that they have, and they're just really hunting for power the whole time. We see on this camera angle, we can just see how sort of low pressure it is. No one's really hiking as hard as they can, and they're just trying to really get the grunt out of the boat, and it looks like they're doing a nice job of that.
Katie, actually, Preveza have extended slightly from Gladiator. That's as we were just seeing that the down speed rounding has cost them a little bit of distance on Preveza. However, not under huge pressure, still well clear of Vayu. What's your thoughts, Katie?
I think just a reminder that Vayu was actually over the line at the start, so for them to actually be in 3rd position at all is pretty epic, to be honest. I think they've done a really nice job, and again, that left-hand side really come in strong for them. Definitely gained a lot on Gladiator. I mean, wild call by Gladiator. That tack around the leeward mark into the traffic. I was sat there like, what? What's happening? But yeah, I mean, they clearly saw that Allegre had gone around the other mark, decided they wanted to kind of loosely cover potentially, and also they had so many boats going to go through on the downwind if they carried on. They just probably wanted to get a bit of clear air. Prevets are doing a really nice job of covering the fleet, staying between the fleet and the mark. They saw that, as Robbie was saying, the next closest competitor, Gladiator, had tacked, so they kind of tacked with them and then loosely covering. But yeah, I think Vayu one to watch. We know that they've got speed in this stuff, and they are, for me, out on that left-hand side is pretty favoured, and I think Gladiator causing them to bounce back towards that left-hand side could potentially be more of a gain to them, but we'll have to wait and see how that plays out at the top. But I think that's very much one to watch between Gladiator and Vayu.
And certainly the tracker shows Vayu having got through Gladiator, but it's a moving situation, as it were.
Yeah, potentially just fighting a little bit with Preveza, which does slow them down, and that just sort of gives Vayu a little crack in the door just to be able to put the hammer down and sail as fast as they can. So I guess that's the sort of little difference that we saw up in this first half of the first beat. And yeah, it's interesting to see them now wanting to head out to this left-hand side with the rest of the fleet, Andy.
Indeed, it's quite increasingly kind of busy in the middle of the fleet, isn't it? There's places changing all the time. We're seeing Paprec dropping slightly down the fleet. Allegre have been pretty solid all the way through this race. I think John Kostecki, I'm almost certain, loving being back in the 52s, and probably in a good position for him on board Allegre, a team with lots of potential, and very much in the fight in this race up against rivals he's known for years.
You mentioned the sort of congestion in the middle of the fleet here, and it's also worth noting that no team has sort of gone out very far to that right-hand side. So I guess they sort of learnt from what Preveza did on that first upwind beat, and all the teams are sort of trying to make the most of that and really try to get that left-hand advantage, Andy.
Indeed. On board then with Gladiator, 3 times world champions, 3 times winners of the Royal Cup. They were 4th at the top mark first time up, 9th just now. Just shows you how places can be won and lost around this race course in this fleet. Vayu have made an incredible comeback. Now have Allegre kind of in check. Gladiator fighting hard and just ending up in a sandwich between Allegre and Vayu.
Yeah, tough spot there for the team Vayu. They've just, they're pretty close out to this left-hand ley line, so they've got a bit of a decision to make whether they want to clear their air and just do a short couple tacks, or they're just trying to hang in there in a bit of a high mode. But looks like they're pretty sandwiched out there with Gladiator in front of them.
What do you think, Katie? Good battle nonetheless, isn't it?
Yeah, really good battle. I think for me, Vayu is potentially just high enough above Gladiator that they can live in that lane. I don't think they've got the space to double tack up. I think where Prevets attacks on them is going to be really critical, whether they allow them that space. But for me, I think Vayu's just got to live in that lane now until we get to the top, because I don't think they've got masses of space to do a little hitch up.
In the meantime, Prevets seem to have dropped back a little bit, haven't they, Robbie?
Yeah, I think they just sort of got closer to that middle of the race course and potentially took a bit of a loss, sailing on a knot for a little bit longer than the other boats, but they've done a nice job just to come back and consolidate. They are a little bit closer between their sort of competitor being Gladiator, but they're definitely in a dominant position, Andy.
They're in a safe windward position for the moment. Camera angles difficult on this long lens from the side fill.
It was interesting to see when Preveza did tack on sort of Gladiator and Vayu, you saw the difference in mode change. Gladiator put their bow down and they're definitely going in a little bit of a faster, lower mode, but then equally with Vayu just being a little bit further to windward, they just stuck the bow up, and now they're all sort of in that high mode trying to protect their lane.
Very close between Gladiator and Vayu. on that right side, Alpha plus Alkedo then really struggling.
Yeah, they at that sort of bottom mark, they were sort of dictated to by a boat coming in on starboard, so they sort of had to hold it dead downwind without a kite for a while, and I think they lost a lot out of that, Andy.
They had some great recoveries at Marina Rubicon, didn't they? Sometimes they're very, very deep in the first upwind, and we're up in the chocolates by the end of a few races. But they have a lot of work to do, and it's not as easy in the lighter, light to moderate breeze, especially on a track which is looking quite one-sided, Katie.
Yeah, I think for sure this left-hand side has proven itself to be pretty strong. I mean, what you guys were talking about with the difference in how Vayu and Gladiator have handled that tack on by Provezza. To me, it looks like Gladiator went potentially a little bit too low, too hard. Vayu really hanging on in there, but we know from the the top of this wind, as Robbie was saying, the top of this beat, sorry, as Robbie was saying on the first lap, it definitely gets a lot shiftier up here. We're closer to the land. There's still heats to play for. Potentially Vayu slightly over this ley line for the spreader mark, which will mean that they have to go a bit of a lower mode to get kind of below it. So yeah, we'll have to see. But I think for me, it's looking absolutely neck and neck between Gladiator and Vayu at the moment, and it's probably just going to be all about who can actually get in front on that spreader. But I know that Gladiator is feeling, the guys on there were pretty happy with their downwind speed. So we'll have to see if they can kind of, how that plays out on this next downwind.
It's going to be fascinating. They're just absolutely neck and neck. And as you said, Katie, Vayu just bringing the bow down marginally. Great ley line from Nacho Postigo and the afterguard on the Provezza. I mean, they lost a little bit on this upwind, but they're still over 100 metres clear, Robbie, as they come round the top mark. They should be on course for victory in race 1 here in Puerto Calero.
Yeah, they definitely gained back that lead coming up as they tacked on Gladiator and Vayu, so just hurting them the whole way into that top mark has really irked out a bit more of a lead for them. So definitely in the driver's seat for Team Provezza, and they've done a really nice job from start to finish as well.
So round the top mark, they've led every mark. Vayu, as Katie just reminded us, we're over the start line in second now, just probably 2.5 boat lengths clear of Gladiator. I think if Gladiator finish in the top 3 in this race, that's a just reward for all the efforts that have been put in by so many people, so many companies in the Grand Prix marine trade. And of course the shore team being pursued by Allegra in fourth, and it's close 5th place for Platoon Aviation. Sled just behind them. Battles all the way through this fleet, Robbie, all the time. There's no room to make any kind of minor mistakes. Just watching as Paprec coming and tack underneath Criolla. That looks close to just... Certainly the call was made to the umpire, but they seem to be okay for the moment.
Very tight.
And actually just ending up starving themselves of breeze, getting stuck coming into this windward mark, losing no way back. So probably losing a couple of boats that they'd have lost anyway.
Yeah, it's interesting to see all the little mini battles that do go on. Obviously we're focused in a lot of the time on the front runners, but there are these mini battles that we see between all these teams, and definitely a front runner or someone that's definitely come through the fleet are Sled, as we see them on the screen now. Really nice job on that second beat just to really get through the fleet, so they're looking like they're in a better position to keep attacking and keep getting their low scores as they've been doing.
Indeed. I mean, I think the key thing for them, and it's kind of like at the moment and potentially to the end of the season, Sled will be watching Platoon, Platoon will be watching Sled, and at the moment it's another point. There's a point to Platoon Aviation. At one point, I think there was 5 or 6 places between them. And it was looking much better for the German team. However, they're 5th and 6th at the moment. Crayola 7th. Norway back 8th and Paprec 9th. Trinity Racing 10th. And Alkedo in 11th. Of course, look at the other little battle between Paprec and Alkedo. The tussle for 3rd step in the podium. Paprec pulling a couple of places back there. And I think that's the way we're looking at every race between now and the end of Valencia.
Interesting to see Preveza wanting to jibe, a little bit earlier than they did on that first downwind run, sort of centering up in the course. It looks like there's a little bit more pressure up that top end of the course coming down, so maybe they just want to sort of consolidate where they are and potentially put two jibes in just to really lock in their first place position.
Anyway, Value, great race so far. Platoon Aviation fighting. You have about 100 metres to try and get back at Allegra, get through Allegra. But as Robbie was saying, private battles all the way through this race, and they'll go on to the finish line, Katie, won't they?
Yeah, for sure. I think they'll just try and not engage with anyone anymore. I mean, the jibe they just did was super nice. Kite was filling really quickly, late main jibe, and yeah, it was really nice. And I reckon they'll just jibing back now. Actually, we're just watching it. So having said they're not going to engage in battles, maybe they'll engage in battles. But yeah, I think just keeping it easy, keeping it clean, and just sailing on through.
Yeah, good to see Preveza jibing back onto starboard, and they're just going to come back into this sort of front bunch, and you can imagine them, or you can expect them just to do a jibe on top of them. We see them there with a nice drone shot. You can expect them just to go in front of Vayu and just jibe in front of them and just sort of lead them back out into this middle of the racetrack. A really dominant position by Team Preveza. Also looks to me like Vayu have done a good job of sort of putting away Gladiator as well. It looks like they're sailing really fast downwind. We see there's not actually much in it between these two boats now. Preveza definitely had a bit more of a lead going around that third mark, and Vayu really come into them. So good positioning by Team Preveza, but also really nice boat speed and really nice sailing from Team Vayu to really close the gap.
Maybe wrong, but I think this would only be Preveza's second race win of the season. Just looking very quickly, it was Puerto Portal's the third from last race was the last time they won a race. So anyway, they're being hunted down by Vayu. Vayu have got good speed coming down this run. Preveza under pressure, Robbie.
They really are. I mean, we mentioned how they did do that early jibe. It has set them up well. They're not quite on ley line for me looking at the 2D tracker, so there will be more jibes in this final downwind, but yeah, really tight gap between the front two boats. Gladiator hanging in there as well. They're just sort of consolidated on their third place position going around that top mark, and looks like you mentioned sort of just paying back towards the shore team and doing a really nice job to come out in this first race of the first day really swinging.
That is Nick Heiner. They're just looking back up the course. Very relaxed with Nacho Postigo. Missing, unfortunately, Santi Lange, who's indisposed at the moment. So a big shout out to Santi. His team is doing a good job for him at the moment.
Simultaneous jibe there from both the teams. It's also interesting to note that Preveza doing outside jibes as well. So in these lighter conditions, just getting that clue all the way around the forestay and around the kite before it comes back in. We obviously see that they've got these teams have their staysails up as well. So certainly light air configurations on the downwind, Andy.
Just looking at the on board with the Vayu there, Shane Elliott, the South African navigator, joined Vayu this year, still wearing the Phoenix / Shosholoza socks. little bit of a gap then between Value and Gladiator, and Value on the attack. Prevets are forced to defend a little bit.
Sort of the similar strategy to what they've been doing on this downwind run is, you know, when Value sort of pick their time to go back, then Preveza will as well, and just sort of stay on the line and in front of Value. It's a very controlling position, but we mentioned that Value sailing really, really nicely, and you know, it looks like they've got a lot of boat speed, so doing a good job with their moding, especially in this swell as they come down towards the finish line.
So, Katie, what are we seeing between now and the finish line for Preveza?
Yeah, I think, as Robbie just said, like, Value's had really good speed all the way down this run. They found a really good mode. They're going quickly, but they're not having to sacrifice much height for it. I think for Preveza, just full defence. I think they need to be defending, maybe even going slightly past the ley line, just to make sure that they really close Value out and don't allow them to jibe. But yeah, I think it looks like they're getting pretty close towards the ley line now. You've got all 4 of the top 4 boats heading out towards that ley line, and I think Preveza's probably going to want to be leading that procession back in, and, as I say, maybe slightly overlay or at least a tight lay, so that they don't give anyone the chance to kind of go round them or underneath them or anything. But it looks like the boats are starting to jibe back across now.
But loads of experience on board the Preveza. John Cutler, the helm. Colli Parada is the tactician. Nick Heiner, strategist. Nacho and Postigo, navigator. Ben Childerley on board as the floater, back with the team this week. Paul Westlake, flipper from North Sails. Main trimmer. John O'Swain, trimmer, along with Fongo. Daniel Fong as the other trimmer. Pietro Mantovani is the grinder, along with Matt Barber. Togan Alper from Turkey in the pit. Kivanch Sevinch from Turkey also in the mid-bow, and Fuji on the bow, coming through for their first win here in the Canary Islands, coming back from a slightly disappointing regatta in the Marina Rubicon. I think they said this is their second race win this season, one in Puerto Portals, which is one of their favourite places. But all credit to Ergen Imre and the team.
Really clean and confident race from them. We mentioned, or you mentioned before, Andy, before the start, that was their strategy, to get off the line, get off the pin, and really play that left-hand side. And it really paid dividends on their first beat. And they've just sailed really, really clean and just made sure that they're in the dominant positions when the boats come back. And yeah, really, really well done from Team Preveza for race 1.
Indeed. And I think certainly the first race win for that this afterguard. Not seeing Ergen on board for the moment, but if he's not there, shout out to Ergen. Great to see your team winning. And coming through in second, Value.
Yeah, hell of a result for them. Like Katie mentioned, they were over OCS on that first start. So yeah, really well done to battle through the fleet. And wow, it's very impressive, to be honest, to get back up in second in this fleet.
Who did then coming through in third. I think we're seeing Gladiator, aren't we? Credit to them. No practice race, limited time preparing since the repaired rig went in, and come away with a third in this fleet. Huge credit to Tony and the team. Sled, look at that. Never say die, although it's going to be a 3-way fight to come through the finish line. Super, super close. I think that Sled are just going to get there. Just pipping Allegra now. Allegra get are next, and then Platoon Aviation at the boat end of the line. I think just losing out, indeed. GPS confirming my eyes. Sled get fourth. I mean, that's nearly as good as Value, but I say never say die for Sled. Allegra get fifth. Platoon Aviation get sixth, and Crayola are in seventh.
Yeah, real keeper there from Team Sled, doing a nice job since they were so far back on that first beat. So a keeper for them and another low score for their points tally. So they'll definitely be happy on board.
But very, very close racing, Katie. Places changing all the way through the race, as we saw Sled keeping their cool, taking places all the way into the finish line. Lacorte just losing out. They were up in third at the top mark first time up. They were in second at one point. But great racing. Even though we're not having the 20 knot foam ups that we had in Marina Rubicon, Lanzarote delivering some great racing. Alkedo coming away with 12th. That is very disappointing for them. Although the saving grace for them is their main rivals for the third step in the podium. Paprec are just winners in Marina Rubicon are in ninth, so they're only 3 places ahead of them. But all credit then, John Cutler looking nice and relaxed, coming away with a win in race 1. There's nothing better, is there, Robbie?
No, that's right. You obviously want to start on fire and as well as you can, and you know they really did that to a T. So no, full confidence for them on board. And yeah, you mentioned it. There's really no better way to start race 1, day 1 here of a very important event as we head further in the season.
And did Katie, your thoughts on that race, and what do you see the breeze doing into the next race? What's the temperature like? Robbie and I are actually working not with aircon but with a refrigeration unit. We're in Arctic conditions ashore.
I can confirm it is not Arctic conditions out here. I keep having to put my arm in a sleeve when I'm getting splashed of the coat and then taking it out because I'm just so hot. But yeah, it's really nice out here. I think I can't see anything that's going to dramatically change the conditions for the next race, especially if they're going to just roll straight into it. Yeah, I can't really see anything that might indicate a massive change. So hopefully more of the same, because that was pretty exciting racing. I mean, from someone to go from over to second, and then Sled taking heaps of places on that downwind. Evidently clear air is also super important, because I think they managed to just sail clear. There's so much going on out here, and I think, yeah, hopefully same again, bit more. Yeah, we'll go into it.
Prevets already have their name on the Royal Cup going back to 2019, I believe. So perfect start as they try to win the big trophy. But that's the results of race number 1 here in Puerto Calero. Prevets are winning, Vayu second, Gladiator third. Sled, great comeback to 4th. I think they were down in 12th at one point, certainly 11th. Allegra up in 2nd and 3rd at one point, coming through in 5th in a super close finish. Platoon Aviation 6th, Crayola 7th, No Way Back 8th, Paprec 9th, Trinity Racing 10th, Alpha Plus 11th, and Alkedo Setelar getting 12th. Maybe they want to keep the old name. However, unfortunately, Teasing Machine DNS getting 14 points. Hopefully, there's some repairs going on underway with Teasing Machine. We'll keep you posted. But I think we're going to take a short break and go into race 2. You can see the breeze has stayed in nicely, and a quick bit of lunch, and we'll join you again in a few minutes here in Puerto Calero.
get you. She loves me now. The petals hit the floor. And what you get is what you got when you can't pull no more. I'm okay, but it was a real contemplating all my time. My thoughts make me tired, just running through my mind. Wonder if there's peace that I can find, instead of always being on the grind. I need a new purpose, I'm looking for so much more. Don't leave me here searching, you're just what I'm longing for. When times are getting crazy and everything seems hazy, is there some place for safety I can go? Run away, run away, run away into your escape. Run away, run away, run away, you're never too far to run. Run away, run away, run away into your escape. Run away, run away, run away. Run away, run away, run away. It gets so loud that I can barely hear. But your words speak much louder than all my fears. Sometimes I just wanna disappear, running until I can feel you near. I need a new purpose, I'm looking for so much more. Don't leave me here searching, you're just what I'm longing for. When times are getting crazy and everything seems hazy, is there some place for safety I could go? Run away, run away, run away into your escape. Run away, run away, run away, you're never too far to run. Run away, run away, run away into your escape. Run away, run away, run away. Run away, run away, run away.
locked in my head, romanticizing forever. Last love I found, knees met the ground and all my roses died. Swore I was through, but looking at you, I think I changed my mind. Yeah, let's fall in love for the fun of it. Dive in at first and all of it. Oh, what a rush, looking into your eyes, playing it off like it's different this time. Let's break our own hearts for the fun of it. One look and I'm dying to run the risk. I'll live in your head for the rest of your life. Oh, won't you be my hopeless Valentine? My God, don't we look good together? I should be running away, but so what, whatever. Oh, last love I found, knees met the ground and all my roses died. Swore I was through, but looking at you, I think I changed my mind. Yeah, let's fall in love for the fun of it. Dive in at first and all of it. Oh, what a rush, looking into your eyes, playing it off like it's different this time. Let's break our own hearts for the fun of it. One look and I'm dying to run the risk. I'll live in your head for the rest of your life. Oh, won't you be my hopeless Valentine? Oh, won't you be my hopeless Valentine? Oh, won't you be my hopeless Valentine? You're a bad idea. Oh, but every time I see you, all reason and logic cut their losses. Yeah, let's fall in love for the fun of it. Dive in at first and all of it. Oh, what a rush, looking into your eyes, playing it off like it's different this time. Let's break our own hearts for the fun of it. One look and I'm dying to run the risk. I'll live in your head for the rest of your life. Oh, won't you be my hopeless Valentine? Oh, won't you be my hopeless Valentine? Oh, won't you be my hopeless Valentine?
Welcome back to Puerto Calero. We've just seen a great first race here with Brevetza taking their second race win of the season, leading the standings here in this new venue. Second back-to-back regatta here in Lanzarote. Conditions really perfect for a more gentle introduction than we saw in Marina Rubicon. Looking quite nice, Katie, this afternoon. Breeze seems to be fairly similar. Has there been any increase in your viewpoint?
Yeah, I think it's actually built a couple of knots. Looking upwind as well, it looks a little bit breezier than the last race. So hopefully, a bit more breeze. It'd be nice to get kind of the guys hiking, especially maybe on the downwinds. But yeah, I think I've had to put my coat on because I'm getting sprayed more. So I think that's the official measure of breeze increase.
Well, Robbie's put his coat on in here in the fridge, but that's a reflection on being a soft Kiwi, I guess. But anyway, It looks fantastic on the water, perhaps a slight increase in breeze, as Katie said. What did we learn from that race then, Robbie, in terms of the geometry of the race course?
Yeah, we've got a bit of a more northerly wind direction than we sort of had yesterday or in previous practice races. We've just seen it go further left, and we just saw Preveza taking full advantage of that left-hand shift, and it was a bit processional there on that second beat for all the rest of the team. So I would suggest that all these teams would have the left-hand shift in their plan, and yeah, it was definitely a bit of a left-hand dominated sort of racetrack, Andy.
Indeed. Katie, do you see the start line being adjusted in any way, knowing that it's left dominant?
I don't particularly think it needs to be. I think the left is dominant, but I don't think it's a win the pin end and go out to the left situation. We saw, the leader.
We saw Gladiator come from the right.
The leader came from the left. Yeah, exactly. Gladiator came were more towards the boat end in space, tacked out, and then we're still strong. So I don't think there's any need to change the start line or anything. I think getting a clear start at any part of the line and being able to get out to that left-hand side is going to be way more powerful than taking the most of the bias on this race course.
Indeed, that was clearly that was one of the things that Nacho said to me yesterday. He was saying that he felt that they have now the ability to start better. They have the afterguard there have solidified. Their communications are refined, and John Cutler, one of the best starters in the fleet, champion match racer, America's Cup racer, Olympic medalist. So that they have their starting firing. Let's watch and see at 1 minute and 10. So Preveza setting up more in the middle of the fleet this time. Paprec gravitating towards the pin end of the line for the moment. Allegra just to weather. Now Alpha Plus did not get the start they wanted in the previous race. Let's see how they can get away this time. Platoon Aviation just holding back. Clearly they feel they have an opening, an option. Towards the committee boat end of the line, we're seeing Criolla and Gladiator. Robbie, Gladiator well forward, in fact, on the fleet.
Yeah, exactly. Bow forward on the rest of the fleet as we see them at the top of that line there. Looks like they got a bit more space like they did in that first race, so a bit of a same strategy for them, Andy.
Indeed, it just gives them a little bit of real estate to build the speed in the final seconds. Trinity Racing going forward, taking a little bit of a jump. They too, in the same situation, they have space to leeward to keep the bow down. One team there taking sterns there. Robbie, who's that?
There looks to be a Platoon there having
Platoon
to
Aviation,
just
yes.
tack out, yeah.
Now whether they can get away on port, but they're 2 boat lengths behind the line, but they are so too are no way back. They seem to be all going at 10 seconds, but nice perspective from the drone there.
Yeah, good. Really well done by Team Paprec there. They just had that space and the time afforded to them just to be able to pull the trigger at that pin end. But a really nice start all round for this fleet. They all look pretty bow even coming off this line, and we just see a bit of a drag race. And we mentioned how potentially that left-hand side might be in the strategy, and we see there Alkedo Setelah being nicely jumped off that line as well, Andy.
Indeed, Paprec getting off the pin end of the line, and Gladiator actually got away okay at the committee boat end. We can just see them stretching out steadily from that right side. Best start probably though between Paprec and Alkedo. Alkedo needed that after the previous race. Getting away nicely this time. There's Cedric Chateau on the helm of Paprec. Perron then just looking out to windward. And a good start then from Alkedo. We can see the sled bow in the mix there. Not so good this time, Katie, from Preveza, clearly putting the hex on them with me, talking about how they'd really got the starting dialed.
Yeah, I think it's all your fault. I think that pin end is a really hard place to start, especially when it is quite congested. It doesn't give you many options if you don't nail it. Like when we talk about starting in our training, it's kind of like with the kites and stuff, you want to win an end. If you want to win an end, it doesn't necessarily mean being at the pin. And if you're in a group, then only realistically one person in that group is going to get a good start. And if it's not you, then that's a problem. And then kind of if you're at the pin end, it's a bit harder to do that because you've got less options. You can't just go down the line and find another gap. You have to, if you want to bail out of that start, it's a pretty big manoeuvre. Unfortunately, Prevets are not getting quite as good a start, but they seem to have managed to tack back in quite a nice lane. I think I reckon they're going to be able to claw some back, and I don't reckon they're going to be too deep in the trenches.
Just watching, interesting, just watching Crayola coming back from the early right, as it were. Clearly seeing something or wanting to come away from that right side, Robbie.
Yeah, I'm not too sure what sort of that thinking is. Maybe come closer to that middle of the course, but it looks like they're taking quite a few sterns to do that. All the other boats are on that port tack, so that sort of indicates, there we go, a nice shot of that sort of left-hand shift, that all the boats are making the most of it. And you see Alkedo, Setilam really getting the jump on the fleet and doing a nice job of picking their moment to tack and taking full advantage of this left-hand shift as we see the boats coming on port.
Prevets have gone quite well since we last spoke to them. The boats are much more powered up than the last race, aren't they, Robbie?
Yeah, it definitely looks so. Katie mentioned that there is a bit of an increase in pressure. It would be interesting to know if that pressure's sort of on one side or it's sort of coming down in bullets. But it's definitely a little bit up pressure than from what we saw in that first race, Andy.
Indeed, just watching Sled in a nice open lane for the meantime. And a little bit to leeward of Alkedo. But it's all about consistency, isn't it? Alkedo leading this race, but they were deep in the previous race. Early on anyway. But Cameron Appleton and Alvaro Marinho.
Yeah, it's nice to come out swinging after having a not-so-keeper in that first race. So good job by them just to sort of debrief and forget about that first race and really put their best foot forward on that start line. And it looks like they're going pretty nicely through a little bit of swell as well, having to contend, and all the crew's hiking as well. So definitely a bit of an uptick in pressure, and they're doing a really nice job of sailing in that.
Indeed, Alkedo 12th in the previous race, 12th being 12th of 12 because Teasing Machine didn't make the start, as again they haven't in this race. But Prevets looking solid in second just now on this left side. Gladiator were good off the start line, but certainly the left looking much stronger this time, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's definitely gone into a little bit of a left-hand phase, as we said at the moment, and it's just going that further north. So they're just getting that sort of lighter breeze off the land there, and you can expect them as they get further up to the top mark and underneath the lee of the shore that it might get a little bit more shifty. So most of the boats are sort of in that middle of the course using this left-hand shift, and then we'll see how it sort of plays out as they get further closer to the top mark.
Yeah, so we started off at a breeze of 0.25 in race one. We're now west of north, and that has been read beautifully by that afterguard on Andrea Lacorte's Alkedo Setelar. Going quick, but credit to Prevets.
Yeah, it looks like they've found themselves their nice lane. We saw that they were just a little bit further behind their closest rival, being Alkedo there, but they're still in a nice lane. And Paprec looking like they're really getting paid dividends for being on that left-hand side. We saw them come off the pin, sort of win that pin end off that start, and looks like they're in a nice little lefty there, and we see boats trying to get out to that and just taking their stern.
Sled very much in the mix at the moment. Nice recovery for them in the previous race. But Katie, how are you seeing it? You're on that left side coming up this first beat. Looking good.
Yeah, I think I'm quite surprised how many of the boats actually tacked as early as they did to get away from this left-hand side. I think the left is pretty strong. I do wonder if I know that if the wind line that we've been seeing the last couple of days, if that kind of comes in, we were expecting potentially a bit of a right shift, so maybe the teams are kind of like wondering if that's going to happen, so protecting the right a bit more. But I still think being left of the bunch seems pretty strong to me. So as I said, yeah, I'm surprised so many of them tacked out. But yeah, I think Alkedo have done a really nice job. They got a really, really good start. Went out to the left a bit, tacked back across the fleet, now leading the fleet back out towards that right-hand side. They're in a super powerful position. I think it's worth keeping an eye on the boats out to the far left. You don't know what's going to happen at the top. As you say, as Robbie was saying, it's going to probably get a bit shiftier at the top. And we know that top left, or the boats on the left, came in pretty strong at the top of the first beat, in the last race, sorry. So I think, yeah, keeping an eye on those boats out to the left. But for me at the moment, it's Alkedo's kind of lead to lose.
Indeed, Provetza pretty strong as well. Paprec going well. Just watching as Provetza waved Alpha Plus across.
Katie, you mentioned the breeze, being a little bit more on this second race. Is it sort of general over the course, or is it sort of coming down one side? We see a lot of the boats really trying to hunt out that left-hand side. So is that a pressure thing, do you think, or is it just general, just more increase?
I think for me it looks relatively even across the course in terms of breeze. It is still a bit puffy. Like you can definitely see the gust compared to the lulls. It's not fully settled breeze, but yeah, I think it looks pretty even across the course. But I think it's going to be kind of the left-hand wind bend that the teams are looking for out on this left-hand side.
Paprec certainly going quite well for the meantime. For French racing fans, news from the teasing machine camp is they expect to be back on the race course tomorrow, I believe. So it's good news for them, but disappointing to miss out on two excellent races. Start of the Puerto Calero 52 Super Series Royal Cup on board with Alegre, which lies as 7th in this race so far.
Really snakes and ladders sort of in the middle of this fleet. We see Sled, jump up into a nice top 5 position, and then they've jumped just back down. So we see the margins between sort of that 4, 5 and 6 places really, really close, and then equally really close with the boats behind them. So nice mini little battles in the middle of this pack, and it'd be interesting to see how sort of the boats far left, like Katie mentioned, come back into this race, and then obviously the leaders currently are out to that far right-hand side, Andy.
Indeed, and all the time you want to minimise your manoeuvres, don't you?
Yeah, that's right.
You don't want to be ping-ponged around the middle of the course.
Yeah, it just sort of slows you down a little bit more, and sort of gives other boats time and opportunity to sort of go round you on the edges. So you're absolutely right. You don't really want to get ping-ponged around in that middle of the pack.
On board momentarily with Platoon Aviation, they have work to do, really. But places changing all the time. They got a 6th in that first race. Vasco, of anyone who's relatively regular here, has won in the 44s. So to Cam Appleton, and a few others.
Yeah, we see Criolla there on the left-hand side of your screen. It's we were talking about that sort of strategy to start at the boat, and they went out to the right-hand side, but pretty quickly changed their strategy to come out to the left-hand side here, Andy.
Yeah, you're just starting to feel that Alkedo might have a little bit of righty, just a little bit of a lift, perhaps. Maybe it's pressure. They seem to be slightly more powered up than Provetza, but you certainly want to be on that side just now, along with Provetza. For the meantime, closer to the ley line.
This is a crew that we obviously know that have done very well in the events previous leading up to this, and obviously we touched on that they didn't have such a good race in that first one, but really putting their best foot forward at the moment, Andy.
Indeed they are, but You speak to most of the afterguards. You say who are the quickest boats in the fleet, and almost everybody counts Alkedo as one of the quickest, if not the quickest. Good all-round speed, solid strategy, and they always have a plan. They always are very driven by their processes, led on the coach boat by Hugh Styles. Always a team that are always wanting to make daily gains, as it were. And they're sitting third overall for the season so far. Still to win a regatta, but I think that's probably on the cards at some point. Perhaps not this regatta, maybe Valencia, but certainly they're not too far away, and it's certainly on the agenda. It's something they want to achieve. And obviously finishing on the podium this season, having just missed out last year. Anyway, Sled looking quite nice in their position in third.
Yeah, nice little hole there in the middle of the fleet. You can see them just sort of, making the most of what looks to be potentially a little left-hander, and they're sort of leading that fleet that's just behind them. So a bit of a strong position for them. We have obviously the front two coming in from that right-hand side. We mentioned it would be a little bit more shifty, so as these boats sort of converge up towards this top mark, I think Sled are in that good position. You're right, Andy.
Indeed. They're certainly leading that group from the left. Katie, how are you seeing it from your vantage point, presumably close to the windward mark now?
Yeah, we're just coming up to the windward mark now, actually. It's looking to me like Alkedo and Paprec have got 2 more tacks to put in. We actually have seen quite a lot of action around this protector mark in this season. We've seen quite a lot of people using it really tactically to hold out your competitors so that you get a really good lead, and I would expect Paprec probably to try and hold Alkedo out past the spreader mark, so that then they get through. But just having looked at that, Alkedo's just tacked and then Paprec has gone underneath them. I'm not a bit confused how that works, because Alkedo is tacking onto port, but we are where we are. But yeah, I think you've got quite a big pack coming in on this port hand ley line to the spreader. It's going to be tight between Platoon and Gladiator. Platoon definitely in a lower mode. It's just whether they can get the overlap for this spreader mark, or the protector mark, sorry. But I think it's going to be super, super tight at this top mark. It's just going to be about where people tack in, because you've got boats on the starboard lay, boats on the port lay. Carnage.
Carnage, as they say in Lanzarote. But most noticeable there was Gladiator being well above this spreader, or the protector mark, having to come down substantially. But Paprec just, and indeed Platoon Aviation, same thing applies. But they're coming in with speed. It's all about finding the gap or bailing out, not pushing it too hard, avoiding the penalties. That's been Platoon Aviation's downfall so many times. Not being greedy and taking the medicine when you need to. But round the top mark first, with actually quite a comfortable little lead, is Alkedo. Round in second is Sled, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. And they've just got Paprec there on their hammer on their stern, and Paprec potentially losing out a couple boats just from that incident they had, potentially going into it a bit too aggressive, sort of forcing attack, and yeah, they just got pipped a little bit on there and just lost 2 boats.
And Platoon Aviation round now, then Gladiator with Trinity at the same time. A little bit starved of breeze, very slightly, but momentarily anyway, was Alpha Plus. Slightly slowed, being rolled by Vayu at the top mark. No way back in 10th. And then we have Criolla, I think, in 11th.
We just saw a flag there from Team Gladiator, so we'll be potentially seeing an umpire decision there. I think Trinity just got a bit close on that windward hip of Gladiator, and we'll just have to find out what sort of the result in that is, but definitely saw a flag.
not just a little flag on Gladiator, a lot of flag waving. However, clearly a little bit warmed up there, and actually it's Allegra who go round in 12. So let's let this run settle down momentarily, but a good first beat really from Sled. Robbie just keeping it tight and making their gains quietly, a little bit under the radar, but clearly reading the pressure, reading the shifts beautifully, and taking it to the Italian team, getting their nose into the pressure.
That's right, they're definitely on the attack on towards this Alkedo Settler. But yeah, they've done a good job just to jibe out, be the first ones to jibe out, and it looks like they're just getting into that pressure and potentially a bit of shift on this downwind as well. So
seemed to be some pressure coming down from the high right, looking upwind, the left, or their left. Gladiator setting up for the run. Big Jeff Povey there on the rail.
yeah, one of the only boats, or them and Vayu, to continue and not put a jibe in too early. So a bit of a different strategy, potentially trying to do what they did on that first race as we saw it, but all the other teams potentially are thinking a different sort of strategy.
You could certainly see that pressure coming down from their left. So that would anyway, Alkedo still holding out nicely. Sled in second, Pravetsa third. That's a very quick look, perhaps potentially, hopefully, wind in the right direction at the regatta standings, the projected regatta standings after this race. If positions stayed the same, I think would be. You don't need a computer to work out. It would be Pravetsa would be leading the regatta with a first and a third. Hopefully we can maybe see that, but that would be my basic arithmetic. And Sled, I think, would be second. Yeah, there you go. 4 points for Pravetsa. Sled would be on 8 points. Plavetsa. Platoon Aviation in 11th on 11 points. 13 points for Alkedo. Gladiator 13, 14 for Vayu, 14 for No Way Back, and 15 for Alpha Plus. But a long way to go in the second race. But Pravetsa really going nicely at the moment.
All these boats really making the most of that pressure you mentioned, Andy, and I think there's a lot of shift in there as well. They're very, very deep on this port board as they come down, so it's definitely a difference to what we sort of saw on that first beat. So it's definitely all changing pressure and shift here as we come down to the first run of this race.
Exactly as Katie said. I think in terms of the wind pattern, you can see that pressure coming off the land there. And it's a bit of a righty, isn't it, Katie? By the looks of things, a little bit of a header, which is quite nice.
Yeah, looking like a bit of a header. It looks pretty long tack port to me at the moment, or long jibe port to me at the moment. So where the boats have all chosen to jibe is going to be super important, because they're going to probably be spending quite a lot of time on this jibe. The fleet looks super compressed to me right now. I mean, everyone's is super, super tight, and I reckon they're all going to be thinking about trying to position themselves, especially as soon as they get to kind of the halfway point of this downwind, which a lot of them are kind of getting there. They're going to be thinking about where they want to position themselves to come into these leeward marks, to be able to get the best possible rounding and be able to actually kind of have the rights coming into these marks. You don't want to be coming into the marks in the middle of the gate, because then that means you have to give room to the boats either side of you, whichever gate you choose. So I would imagine we'd start seeing boats trying to get out on towards that ley line, get on the ley line early, so that they then have rights for the leeward marks.
Look at the different angles that Alpha Plus are sailing compared to Alkedo, Robbie.
Yeah, that's right. We see
the boats further left are definitely a more pronounced header, a more pronounced righty.
Yeah, we see them on the track and now potentially up into first place with the GPS. So yeah, you see on the far right hand side, Alpha Plus really having a deeper angle than the other boats. And you know, that can be obviously the shifts affecting that, but then all the boats being so close together like they are, there is just a little bit of disturbed air and turbulent air in this bunch. So nice job of Alpha Plus just going out to one side and really keeping their race clean on this downwind.
Indeed. Also, Platoon Aviation going quite nicely as well on that left side, but it's super close between the top 3, top 4 boats. Sled still hanging in there, getting down inside Alkedo for the moment. Alpha Plus looked good temporarily, but still sailing a deeper angle way over there on that left side.
Yeah, you touched on Platoon Aviation, and Privetza are right behind them as well, and you can see just sort of that angle difference in between Sled and bow number 2, Platoon Aviation. And well, it's going to be it's all going to be on here for this gate mark, and it'll be which sort of team can set up best and sort of keep their pressure and their boat speed up as they get through the roundings. But currently advantage to Sled, right?
Rolling down inside, isn't it, on the left or to the left, and Alkedo are having to jibe to get back to it, whereas Sled have done a really nice job in terms of the angles, coming with the pressure, staying with it, and now jibing back on it, and just holding out a very small lead under pressure. You can see the white horses to the left, looking downwind to our right on this shot. But certainly, Katie says, you called it. You said that you kind of felt this might happen with the breeze pushing down off the land later on in the day.
Yeah, for sure. I think that the breeze line is kind of coming down, coming in. As you say, you can see white caps out on the left-hand side of the course. It's capping out back, as we say in the kite world. So there's definitely some more pressure about, for sure.
I was just setting you up there, Katie. We were waiting for it, and there you go, capping out back. It's a new hot phrase.
Yeah.
That's for my line of quote, my clothing line with the quotes on, capping out back.
Fantastic. But it's a great race, and we're watching Sled slightly down pressure. The pressure is so much on that left side. You can see it building or coming down again in the middle. But just watching there, I think it's Gladiator, isn't it, coming across the...
That's Alpha Plus coming through.
Back from the left. They've really done a nice job getting back from the left, but a super high angle to get there. But they've come across the bows of Platoon Aviation and Sled.
Yeah, amazing to see them, sort of commit to that jibe set at the top and really make full advantage of that. And they've come across the fleet, so...
Privetza put a kite in the water. That is really just what they didn't need at this point. They may be able to recover it, but they've got still quite a long way to go to the leeward mark. So that's expensive for Privetza just when they didn't need it. You can see them there. They're getting a jib up now. They must have a halyard problem or a sheave problem, or the clutch clearly gave way. But that is the regatta lead evaporating by every second, every moment that they don't have a kite.
Platoon doing a nice job just holding off Sled as they just got the jump on them and sort of...
Going to be a great rounding, isn't it? We're just watching Alpha Plus coming into the left-hand mark with speed, but going for an early drop. Platoon Aviation might be able to get to this right-hand mark. You want probably to be on the right, going up this upwind. That seems to be where the pressure is, but it's even, I would say, between Alpha Plus and Platoon Aviation. All the time Privetza have that kite, or have had that kite problem. Platoon Paprec coming in really, really dead downwind, but get themselves round inside Criolla. Gladiator a little bit at 6s and 7s. Alkedo round in 4th, chasing Alpha Plus. Paprec a little bit stalled on their turn. Watching all the time on that right-hand mark, but this is... Sounds like there's a penalty on Alkedo. Not sure, Robbie, whether you saw that, what the penalty's for, but...
Yeah, I think Paprec just had room And, you know, I don't think Alkedo really gave them enough space to sort of get that turn in. It was a downspeed turn, so it's a bit difficult for that leading boat with all the speed, but you still do have to give rights to Paprec, and I think that's what it would have been for.
Interesting. They're clearly not intent on taking it immediately, which is what they're supposed to do. We'll wait and watch that one, but that was our information that there's a penalty on. Yeah, there they go, taking their penalty right now.
Interesting to see the race leaders that we have currently, Platoon Aviation, still wanting to head out to this left-hand side, even though we saw such a shift difference on that downwind. So most of the front bunch still do sort of want to have this left-hand racetrack and still have the left-hand shift in their strategy, Andy.
The exception being no way back. Interesting choice there with them. Michele Avaldi, navigator. Terry, of course, Hutchison, tactician. Now Peter Hirama is owner-driver who has done as much sailing here as anyone. He has a house here. He trained with his RC44 originally. Did a Dragon program. Did a lot of training here. So I'm quite sure he'll probably won't be calling tactics, but I'm certainly sure he'll be happy to corroborate, to consolidate on the decisions made by Terry and Lucas Calabrese, Olympic bronze medalist, who is the strategist working with Terry. Watching there as Matt Cassidy comes charging back the boat.
Yeah, certainly all the crew hiking as well at the front there. You can't see any of their body, so definitely trying to get the most power out of this boat as we see a little bit of breeze increase. I think that just makes it a little bit nicer, doesn't it, Andy? Just the bows getting through the water and sort of competing with a little bit of chop.
Indeed, Alpha Plus nicely set up there just now. Nick Egnock Johnson, the young helmsman. Ado Stead, the not so young tactician on his hip, but what a team on board there. So much experience, and that was really an audacious downwind from them. They clearly saw the pressure coming down off the hills at the back of the race course and took a ride on that. But Platoon Aviation having a great battle with them, and indeed no way back. I think it's going to be fascinating to watch no way back on this upwind, whether they can continue to make gains. Sled in fourth, leading down that run, as were Alkedo. Now Alkedo, after that penalty, ending up with a 12th. I mean, this is going to be a heavy day for the Italian team, potentially 2 12ths. They need to get out of the basement, start taking places, but so too that's the case for Prevezza. And we might be seeing Sled leading the regatta, or Platoon Aviation potentially.
Yeah, Platoon doing a nice job. You just see them there in the middle of both Alpha Plus and No Way Back, so doing a good job of just keeping that middle section and sort of just dominating that middle part of the fleet and just consolidating between the two boats. But we see the live scores there, Andy.
Indeed we do, as my maths getting better as I get older. Clearly Platoon Aviation on 8, Sled on 8, to Value. We've seen them on the podium on the first day. No Way Back tied with points with Value. Alpha Plus not too far behind on 12 points. Prevetz on 12, Gladiator on 12, Criolla on 12. It's absolute logjam in the middle of the fleet, and there's going to be a lot to determine on this upwind, I'm quite sure. And I'm going to say that I think I think No Way Back will lead round this top mark.
I think that right hand is just going to stay in for a little bit longer. They are sort of in the middle of the course, so any further the left they get, then the stronger they get for sure.
But Katie, the breeze looks quite puffy and shifty. You seem to be getting the right hand breeze rolling down the track, and then it's a little bit lighter. Some slightly more pronounced holes, I think.
Yeah, it's a bit more confused out here, I think. You've got some pretty big puffs. I mean, the kind of average breeze is definitely up quite a few knots. I'd say it's probably like, maybe 13, 14. But there is some big holes. I mean, I can see a bit of a wind, what looks like a wind line kind of thing to me on the left-hand side of the course, but I don't think we are going to get quite far enough into it to reach that on the upwind. But yeah, I think as we saw on the downwind, I think the rest of this upwind and the next downwind could be more of the same. I think there's kind of the breeze is not quite sure what it wants to do with itself today. But that makes for a super interesting race course because, there's so much to play for, and any little move can kind of gain you 3 places or lose you 5, or I think just eyes on.
Eyes on, no way back. Not quite doing the magic that I was expecting, but still looking quite strong on that right side. I think we'll see the breeze once again getting shiftier and more inconsistent as we get towards the top mark.
Yeah, I think just sort of the later hours in the day where we are now, I think it just sort of is a bit more confused and it's not as stable and steady with just the land cooling down just that little bit more. So yeah, it's just a little bit more fickle, but definitely breeze up a little bit. We see Alpha Plus doing a nice job of just hooking into what looks to be a little bit of a right-hander. They are the furthest left boat, so they're obviously hoping or thinking about a bit of a left-hand shift as they get closer to this left-hand ley line, Andy.
Indeed, really seem to be quite nicely set up and going fast across the waves, as it were.
I wouldn't count out your no way back shout there. They got nice leverage and they are further in the middle of the track, so I think we'd be patient with that one, and you could be spot on.
Could be. Watching Privet's Alkedo Allegre furthest out to the right. Value not quite able to pull their way back to the fleet in the way that they did in the previous race. But Katie, what's your reading of the top of this second beat?
I think we can definitely see some shifts in the way that we kind of keep looking at Alpha Plus and No Way Back, and we're kind of like, will they, won't they be able to kind of take it? It looks to me, like Alpha Plus have got a bit of a righty and looking pretty nice right now. But I think it's going to continue shifting, and I think going to the edges is quite risky when it's shifting quite a lot. So Alpha Plus might get caught out on that left-hand side.
Indeed.
No, we're back in a much stronger position to be able to adapt and to be able to kind of make manoeuvres and kind of make the most of those shifts, but it completely depends on what pressure comes down and at what time.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think Alpha Plus and a righty at the moment, that's good for them in the short term, but you have to get back from that side. As ever, Vasco, a little firecracker, just always moving around. You feel like he's getting himself in tune with the breeze. Constant dialogue there with the Jordi Calafat at his shoulder. But they're in a good position just now.
Yeah, and a team that sailed very, very well last month when we were here in Lanzarote, Andy.
I think they sailed well. I think they were very it depends whether you call it unlucky or whatever, and who you believe, and the doc talk about spinnakers and everything else, but they certainly sailed well towards the end of the regatta, and their first beats and their first runs were generally really solid, and for me very much the shape of things to come for Platoon Aviation. Head to head just now with Alpha Plus, and No Way Back coming across on starboard, further out to the right, Allegre, and No Way Back elected to tack and go.
Yeah, just consolidating there on No Way Back, an indication that they weren't going to get across both those bows and weren't going to be in a good position, so they've just tacked off and potentially in a bit of a left-hand shift now as we see it shifting the whole time, and a bit of a neck and neck, almost a drag race between all these three teams, Andy.
Indeed, great racing. Absolutely head-to-head. One boat out there on that right side coming back, which I didn't quite see who it was, but Sled not too far out of it. But this looking very much like it would be Platoon Aviation leading the day. We spoke with Harm a few times since we got here in Lanzarote. I wouldn't say he's punchy, but he's certainly got some confidence in the way they're sailing, the way they're executing, and the speed of the boat now. They have the speed to compete.
A team that's largely been together for quite a while, Andy.
Indeed, they have. I mean, it's been a long time since they've made significant changes. They changed, obviously lost Ross Halcrow to Trinity Racing, and lost the big Andy Axelsson, the Swedish grinder, who's gone to Trinity as well. But the core of the team, Vasco, Cheese, Dirk de Ridder, Jordi Calafat, and Juan Villa have been together for a long time now. A good period now. It's a mature partnership, shall we say.
It's good to see Sled there, just hanging in. They were almost in the same position on the other tack with Platoon. They're not getting covered. They've still got a lane, but they're just sort of hanging back on the hip. They're just really still staying in the fight, and we saw them come back in that first race and get a keeper, and it looks like they're just hanging in there for another keeper, Andy.
It looks like it. It's very much the Sled way. If they can't get ahead early, I think as much as anything, they want to sail slightly more conservatively, and that was the modus operandi that Francesco Bruni was talking about, and the others just saying they just need to make sure they don't get penalties, get into bother. I'm prepared to perhaps compromise a couple of percent here and there to ensure that happens. Just keep chipping away the top four, top fifths, top fives. Looking ahead to keep a high level of consistency.
Trinity also working their way back through the fleet. They were a little bit down on that first downwind, so it looks like they've just chipped away and worked their way back up through the middle of the fleet, which we've kept mentioning is actually hard to do, so good job by them. They've obviously got some starboard tackers coming on the right hand side of the screen now though.
Yeah, they've made a couple of places since the first round. However, it's lots of different breezes there, or different angles sailing. Somebody way out there on that right side. Who's that? That's Professor, isn't it?
Yeah. After that sort of issue on the downwind, they've sort of just
thrown a six.
Exactly. Thrown it out to their right hand side.
It's well out to the right side by the looks of things. But Alpha Plud's keeping it solid, just nice ley line, just a couple of boat lengths to leeward off the protector mark, but with a controlling position relative to Platoon Aviation, and indeed my tip for the top on this upwind, no way back.
It's definitely changing who's famous and who's not. It really changes in a couple of minutes, Andy.
Indeed. But Katie, Alpha Plus hanging in there nicely. There we see Vayu just creeping into the picture once again. Just going through to leeward. There they go. Up to third or fourth. Potentially third. There, Vayu have the magic bullet, Katie, don't they?
They have just got the most glamorous lift I've ever seen. They were basically laying that windward from where they were, which has just brought them right back into the front of the fleet. That was quite a pleasure to watch. But yeah, I think they've now managed. They've ended up having to do a double tack. That I don't think that shift was going to last. It was just too good to be true. But yeah, tack back in. Tight tack on no way back there. Really tight tack.
Terry's got the flag.
Yeah, that's an issue, but.
Terry took that one, or he accepted, but for me it was It was a close one, Robbie, wasn't it?
Yeah, very, very close there by Team Vayu, potentially pushing much more than they needed to. Terry's definitely on the flag as quick as he can be, and certainly a bit of a opinion from the umpire coming into this.
Sled tight on ley line there from that position. They're going to have to get up from there. Let's watch that in the background there, Robbie. Just getting there and no more, but that's good sailing, isn't it, to get in from there. Excellent work from Adam Bischel on the helm. Just pipping Alkedo round. Then Trinity Racing. Now then Alpha Plus splitting at the offset. That's a little bit ragged, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, but the same strategy from them, doing a Sambuca jibe set on the spreader mark, and it looks like they just want to sort of do the same thing they did on the first downwind run, which got them in this position. So we're just sort of looking out for that pressure to see if they'll still get the stuff that they got on that first downwind run.
Correspondingly, it'll be interesting to see whether Platoon Aviation elect to stay with them or stay with No Way Back just behind, and Vayu. Gladiator doing a turn there by the looks of things.
Yeah, Alkedo also electing to do that jibe set, so most of the fleet heading out to that right hand side as we look at it downwind, but a couple of the boats wanting to do try to find that inside pressure that we saw on the first run.
Gladiator not doing the smoothest and most practice penalty turn, I wouldn't have said. Pretty costly for them at the moment, however. Paprec still to get round the top mark.
Not too sure what happened there.
Not sure, we're sure what's going on with the tracking, but in the meantime, it's between Platoon Aviation and Alpha Plus. Great recovery once again from Vayu. No Way Back up to 4th. Provezza actually up to 5th, considering they were down at 12th at one point. 4th or 5th. I mean, it's everything changing in this race. Let's see how this plays out. It's a lot happening at the front of the fleet there, Katie. Lots of shifts, lots of different choices made. How are you interpreting it?
Yeah, there's kind of 3 different strategies from the top 3 boats. There was the jibe set, there was the kind of carry on a little bit, then an early jibe, and then Vayu is very much kind of carried on and wanting to go back out to that left-hand side. They look like they're now just setting up for a jibe, but they are the furthest out to the left, the right-hand side of the run as you're looking kind of downwind. But I think there's opportunities on kind of all of the sides. We saw Alpha Plus, to me, looking like they've got quite a good angle and quite good speed at where they are at the moment. I wonder if they maybe jibed because they've seen more pressure, or they kind of think maybe the pressures correspond with the shifts. But Alpha Plus looking quite strong to me at the moment, but I think I'm expecting that to change at least 6 more times before we get to the leeward marks, or the finish line, sorry.
Indeed. Just keeping an eye on Sled as well. You know, Sled are kind of ping-ponging around a little bit, but they're 7th at the moment. They were 4th at one point. But anything could happen there. But Alpha Plus seem to be going well down that left side. We can't see Vayu in this shot, but Trinity having a go down the left-hand side as well.
Yeah, I like the decision just to sort of commit to one way. Obviously they were leading, didn't have much of a lead. There was about a 6-second delta between them and Platoon Aviation, who we see now. But Alpha Plus just really committing to that strategy and just doing a full jibe set, and we'll see how they come out, but it looked like they were making a little bit of an advantage on that side.
Indeed, Platoon Aviation there. Javier de la Plaza on the kite sheet. Vasco just evaluating how the other teams are doing. But let's have a quick look at the projected standings in the next few seconds. See how they look. But at the moment, Vayu would be leading the regatta by 4 points from Provezza. Criolla, well, I'm not sure about Criolla, but Platoon Aviation in 9th. But that's at this point in this race. still a long way to go down this run in terms of distance, but in terms of wind shifts and different groups, different strategies, I'm also liking Cruella.
Yeah, they've almost done the opposite of Alpha Plus. They're really far out to this left-hand side looking upwind. As we see them there on that 2D tracker, they're away down the bottom of the screen there, so definite total sort of Hail Mary out to this hand side. We'll see how that comes off. But you really don't want to get caught up in the bunches and in this middle pack, so Alpha Plus coming back and sort of consolidating on their lead, but there's a lot of disturbed air in the middle of that pack, Andy.
There is, but look at the gusts, the puffs rolling down the track. They're quite isolated in some ways. They're very much like a liner breeze, but they're quite certainly not filling all the way down the course, are they?
No, that's
they
right.
They seem to be pumping down that left side, but then that's all very well, but then you have to come back, as we saw with Alpha Plus last time. You come back on a very tight, fast angle, but you're sailing quite a lot of distance. But Alpha Plus considered to be our leaders for the moment. They've got their angles right coming downwind.
Yeah, something to point out there as we see Alpha Plus, they're going with the swell and with the current, so obviously that's the opposite on the other board, so they'll be changing their modes jibe to jibe. It obviously looks like they're doing a nice job on this with the swell behind them and a bit of a faster mode, but then equally when they do jibe over and they're on port, they just have to change that mode slightly with the wave state they have.
But certainly it's the teams from Asia that are first and second just now, friends and rivals of old. Both are certainly Alpha Plus followed Vayu into the 52 Super Series, having had success in the Asian circuits in the 52s. Cruella then up to third or fourth. Sled, I say never say die, always able to take places on the final run. But there's nothing in it between third and seventh in terms of distance. There's only 40 metres or so between Sled and Pravetsa, and quite a bit of racing to go down this final run.
Yeah, Alpha Plus definitely happy that none of the sort of boats in the middle of the fleet didn't jibe with them or anything, so they've sort of had clear air this entire run, really paying dividends for that as we see them go through their jibe, potentially their last one. And yeah, they've just sailed a nice clean one going out to that right hand side looking upwind, and then now they're sort of in clear air the whole way, rest of the way down into this finish, Andy.
Indeed, Alpha Plus just completing their jibe, just watching the grinders at work on Alpha Plus, Craig Monk and big Phil Clapp on the front pumps. We are in the early stages of producing our fourth programme, 52 Super Series Grand Prix Sailing Show. We have produced 3 so far, 2 have been aired, the third is just about to be aired. They are distributed to 80 or more than 80 broadcasters around the world, and we're doing in the process of doing a very nice feature on the grinders. A little behind the scenes mini profile, and it's fascinating to hear the stories and the strengths and the conditioning of some of the grinders, like big Phil Clapp, who have said many times holds the 500 metres indoor rowing world record. But certainly that's the projected standings just now. Vayu on 4 points, Pravetsa 7 points, Platoon Aviation on 9 points, Sled 11, Alpha Plus 12. But who'd have thought Vayu would be leading the regatta after day one, but massive credit to them. That's still a bit of racing to go down this first run. Or sorry, second run, the final run of the day.
Yeah, that first race, they really picked their way through the fleet and got a good score, and then
And did the same again in the second race.
Equally as well, yeah. So they've just had their moments and taken full advantage of those moments. So, you know, if the things stay the same and they are 5 points after day one, then they'll be more than happy for sure.
Katie, your thoughts on Value's performance so far today?
I think they've raced really confidently. I think they've really chipped away through the fleet, as you've said, and they've got themselves from kind of mid-fleet positions up towards the front of the fleet, and their decision-making looks super confident. They seem really happy to be kind of out, like fighting it out at the front. And yeah, I'm super impressed with their racing, especially that OCS to a second in that first race. It was, yeah, that was beautiful.
Anyway, coming through the finish line now, race 2 winners will be Alpha Plus from Hong Kong, Sean and Tina Kang's program. Really international team on board, but a nice race win for them on day one here in Puerto Calero. Second coming through will be Platoon Aviation, just in a few seconds, just coming through now. Solid day for Vasco and Harm and the team generally.
Yeah, they were always fighting in that top bunch, sort of that top
Sixth
three.
in the first race, second there, and then next through Value for third. Criollo, I think, will steal fourth. Just getting through the line now. I say they're my slow burn team. They're really just generally quite consistent. Then No Way Back through next in fifth. It's going to be close. It's going to be super close. Trinity, I think, will probably just steal sixth, and then Pravetsa gets seventh. In the middle there is Allegro gets seventh. For me, Alkedo Vitamina, Alkedo Setelar next. Sled, I think, actually the team which have lost out in that close finishing, ending up with a 10th, when I think they were probably 6th or 7th coming down the early part of that run. And that part of that run, Trinity taking the better advantage at the finish, just nipping in at the boat end of the line. Gladiator recovering after that penalty, but they're still in 12th. Paprec at 11th. So food for thought. I think woulda, coulda, shoulda, maybe a little bit for Sled. Unlucky coming down the closing stages of that run. But first day belongs to Value, Robbie and Katie.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of these teams, and you know, this sort of racing today specifically is just about opportunities and about moments. We obviously talked about Vayu taking those opportunities full force, and they've got the benefit from that. But then equally, just some moments with Pravetsa not having good drops with their kite, or a few penalties between the fleet, and
a premature drop, in fact. Really.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a mechanical failure, wasn't it? A clutch or something happened. They lost the kite in the water. It cost them. They made a nice recovery, such as it was in the previous race. But it's kind of woulda, coulda, shoulda for them as well. But Platoon Aviation, pretty solid, Katie, for the day.
Yeah, I think they can be super happy with that day. As you say, it was super solid. Changing conditions, we had kind of a bit of a lighter first race and then a bit of a kind of a slightly breezier second race, so adapting really well. And just kind of keeping consistent, and that's, I think, what we say every time, but consistency is really key, and just not getting those big scores, especially at this point in the season, I think is really important to them, and I think they've done a really good job of avoiding that.
So Vayu leading after day one here in the Canary Islands, in Lanzarote, the lead. They also led in the first regatta of the season, I think, in Puerto Portals after day one. They came away with a 1 and a 4 there, and able to do something similar, but it's very much their kind of conditions, light to moderate breeze, shifty, lots of passing opportunities, and they've really capitalised there, Robbie, didn't they?
Yeah, that's right. They're we mentioned about their opportunities, and definitely did capitalise on them. We mentioned it before even racing started today, that this boat and this team does like the lighter wind conditions, so they definitely made the most of that. And you mentioned they've got off to hot starts before in this season, and another really nice day from Team Vayu.
We'll just wait
What's
for
happening?
we'll just wait for the standings to come through. But quick lineup check on the value. Don Whitcraft, the young helmsman. Manu Weiler from Mallorca, tactician. The strategist is Dimitro Cartel, is new to the team. Shane Elliott, the Kiwi navigator. Pom Green is the main trimmer. Kevin Whitcraft, trimmer. Dylan Whitcraft is the other opposite trimmer. Gabriele Olivio is on backstay. Lele Marino, of course, is the grinder along with Max Godfroy. Nut but Marce is the other grinder. Tom Whitcraft in the pit. Anderson Nawagdrit in the mid-bow, and Mika Aid is on the bow. So that's our regatta leaders after day one. And Platoon, I think, closing the points on Sled. Let's look at the regatta standings after day one. Vaio leading on 5 points. Provezza on 8 points. Provezza also on 8 points. Platoon Aviation also on 8 points. Cruella 11, a pretty solid day for them with a 7th and a 4th. Alpha Plus in 5th place with an 11th and a 1st. 12 points for them. 13 points for No Way Back. 13 points for Allegra. 14 points for Sled. 15 points for Gladiator, 16 points for Trinity in 10th. Paprec, the regatta winners last month, are in 11th. Alkedo, Setalar in 12th. And Teasing Machine, who we believe will be back racing tomorrow. 2 DNSs today. But Katie, a great day's racing. Your conclusions for the day?
Yeah, really great days racing out here, and a variety of conditions. I think we can take from this kind of racing today that it is kind of all to play for out here, and it is quite a tricky race course. That left-hand side is strong, but it's not a complete given. There is shifts to take, and I think if the rest of the week continues with racing like this, then I think it's going to be really interesting, and we're going to see a lot of changes at the top of the leaderboard. We're going to see a lot of really close finishes and really coming down to the wire, and I'm pretty excited about it.
We are, and I think we're expecting strong breezes Friday and Saturday. I don't know what you've heard, but that seems to be the general chat. So big showdown, but I think more of the same tomorrow, Robbie.
Yeah, that's right. More of the same, potentially, from what we had today, and just really capitalising on those moments. We see the scoreboard there. It's very close in that middle pack, only 1 or 2 points in between. So these boats just really wanting to potentially review the footage from today and take the learnings and really just try to keep those low scores, as we see everyone sort of had one big one and one small one, Andy.
Indeed, looking at just in terms of the circuit standings, not a brilliant day for Sled with a 14-point day compared to Platoon Aviation's 8-point day. So a 6-point gain to the Platoon Aviation. So I think probably the Sled's lead at the top of the circuit standings are about 10 or 11 points at the moment, but a long way to go in the regatta, long way to go in the circuit. But a nice, gentle introduction to the joys of Puerto Calero and racing here at the Royal Cup. Value best for the day. Provezza, food for thought, but a pretty solid day. Platoon Aviation in third. Join us again tomorrow. Thank you, Robbie. Thank you, Katie. And join us tomorrow, same time, same place.
Beach Motor Yachts, we build for those who lead. This comes from our history in competitive ocean racing, where advanced technologies and a spirit to win shape our every advantage on the water. We carry those lessons into every motor yacht that we design and build, using efficient and balanced hulls to deliver performance that feels effortless. Paired with meticulous craftsmanship and engineering, it creates a quiet confidence you can sense the moment you take the helm. Palm Beach Motor Yachts, from ocean racing innovation to cruising perfection.
See, I've been thinking a million things I want to say.